Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy released a new message this morning as talks continue with the U.S. on a plan to end the war with Russia.
Putin wants legal recognition for what he has stolen, to break the principle of territorial integrity and sovereignty. And that's the main problem.
So no official details have been released. Many allies, though, including Canada, believe the plan risks giving into too many Russian demands, including the potential surrender of Ukrainian territory. For more on what we know, I'm joined by Jennifer Welsh, director of the Max Bell School of Public Policy at McGill University. Good morning.
Good morning, Lindsay.
So I know nothing has been officially released, but what do we know at this point about the proposed peace plan?
Well, what we know is that there was a 28-point plan that was released, some speculation about whether it was leaked, that contained many elements that were unacceptable to Ukraine and to its European allies, as well as to Canada as a NATO member, and that plan resembled a lot of the demands that the Russians have had throughout this conflict. But since that plan has been made public, there have been huge efforts to try to restart discussions between the U.S. and Ukraine in particular to try to alter elements of that document.
From what you've seen, what does each side stand to gain with this agreement?
Well, certainly Russia gains a great deal from the agreement because despite the first line of the 28-point plan saying that Ukraine's sovereignty should be respected, there are a number of elements that weaken Ukraine significantly, which has been Russia's war aim all along, including limiting the size of its armed forces, preventing it from joining NATO, acknowledging Russian control, recognizing Russian control over territory that it hasn't even yet gained in the war, and demanding that Ukraine withdraw from key cities that it currently controls. So there is a lot in this 28-point plan for Russia. In terms of Ukraine, there is very little in the 28 points, but that is being, I think, renegotiated really intensely at the moment. The key desire for Ukraine is that it have reliable security guarantees and is allowed to maintain strong armed forces to defend itself in the future.
Yeah, I want to expand on that a little bit, because when we're talking about concerns, we know that Ukraine and other European allies say this deal does need, as you mentioned, additional work. What are the big concerns?
So I think there are three elements here that are being negotiated very intensely in Geneva since this 28-point plan came out. The first will inevitably be around the status of this territory that the 28-point plan says should be recognized as de facto Russian. And I think for the Ukrainians and for their European allies, the negotiations should start first from a ceasefire, which we still don't have, and from where the current front line is, what we call the line of contact, so that there is no recognition of this territory as Russian. I think, secondly, what will be discussed are the security guarantees that Ukraine would have. At the moment in the 28-point plan, it says they will have reliable security guarantees, but there's no detail on what that means. And there's been Russian pushback on the idea that there should be any Western forces stationed in Ukraine. And I think there will be firm discussions around that, given that earlier we had proposals for there to be, for example, French and British troops as part of a peacekeeping or a stabilization force in Ukraine. So that's the second piece. And then I think thirdly, there's a lot of detail in this 28-point plan about how Ukraine should be reconstructed after the war, with, frankly, in the earlier draft, eye-watering proposals for through which the United States would stand to gain a lot of profit, not much around how Ukraine needs to be rebuilt. And I think there'll be discussion around the use of frozen Russian assets and how they should be properly used for Ukraine's reconstruction.
Jennifer Welsh, we appreciate your time and your thoughts on this morning. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.